Welcome to another Farmtown Misadventure with Charlie Minilayers and JJ. In this episode, we'll be showing you how the settings on your preferences affect what you see on your farms. If this video helps you, click on like and subscribe. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask or comment. Enjoy. We have the preferences set here, and I'll close them for just a moment, and you can see that on our farm, the only thing we really see is a few animals, trains, and the train tracks, and we see some dirt paths. And because we're at a dark brown background, this also is showing the cover that we have on here. The preferences are up here on the upper right corner, right next to where the Farmtown music is, which is generally off in red. And it's to the right of it, it's this wrench here, preferences. We click on that, left click, and it comes up. And as I say, right now, I basically have everything shut off except a very few things. And before we get into them, we'll go down here and show you what these other things down here are for. If you want to see the coins and XP things, that would be clicked there, except it is disabled at this time. Here is where it shows you feedback while you're farming. If you want to see that, you have it clicked like that. Next is show animals when you're not at home. In other words, if you want to see animals when you're on friends' farms, neighbors' farms, anyone's farms, you would show that. The next one is transparent dispatch trains. What this does is if your train has been dispatched and it's showing on your farm, it'll be in a shadow, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Then also you can freeze your animals. You can take and use compressed graphics, which allows you to load quicker. When this is clicked like it is now, it reduces the space between your plowed fields. When you first start playing, this is not checked, and you have space between each field you plow. And this one here, skip funeral facilities. When you're working facilities, this in here allows you to skip religious facilities. This one here, if you have it clicked, it enables your ships. I have it disabled. If you participate in neighborhood chain contest, you would click on here to enable it. This here allows the system to auto-select your tools. I have it turned off. And this here is where you select your primary language. There's quite a few there. And normally you only set them when you want to change something. One note is that when you first start, ships would be enabled. If you don't want to use cargo ships or to send ships out of your port, this needs to be unchecked, because by default, the last time I checked with a new account, it was enabled. The main ones you're going to be working with are these up here. Currently, the only thing I have enabled is show brown covers, which is the brown that I have in the cover here. Otherwise, it would be green. I also show farm cash items, and I show coin items that are in your view. I don't have anything else clicked at this point, so that's the reason I have trains, paths, animals, and and the cover. That's all I have. And the cover is the only thing that I have clicked here. And normally you would probably have all of these, and you can have them all turned on by clicked on all, or you can turn them all off by clicking on none. And when that happens, everything is turned off except these here. That would give me a view that looks like this. Therefore, I have a farm that's bare except for here. So if I click all, that clicks on everything. And then we see the entire farm with all the contents. And you notice it's loading right now because all of that was not there. We have a lot of crops being grown, and they'll be finished in 75 minutes. And I can tell that they're fertilized. They're not irrigated. Here are trees up here. More trees. And then down here, we have flowers that are currently growing. We have some flowers up here. And you notice we still have our trains. If I wanted that train to be transparent when it dispatched, that would look like that. Because this train is dispatched at this time. Most times you'll probably have everything turned on, but you don't have to. If you have something hidden and try to harvest it, it won't let you harvest it. It'll prevent you from harvesting it. And you can turn any one of those on or off. As an example, I can turn the crops off. And when I do that, that will show where the crops are in red. Now, because the trees are on top of the crops, they still show there. And because it's a solid red color, that indicates that that is a 9X crop. Notice that we now see some water up here. That was there all the time, and it is underneath the crops. Everything else appears above the crops and above water. There's trees over water there. And if you're thinking about layers, in essence, this is 3 layers right here. We have trees on top of water that's underneath crops. Has 3 layers. And to get rid of the red is if you make any other change. As an example, I'm going to go in here and hide the animal buildings. Just going to click on animal buildings and hide them. They were visible before. Now that they're gone, the red, there would be little spaces of red where the animal buildings are, and they're up in that area there, I believe. A newer feature of the preferences is the ability to view just farm cash items or just farm coin items. Currently and by default, they are both turned on. I'm going to turn off the coin items and click on here. And what we will see is a whole lot of red because the only thing it shows now are farm cash items. We have up here, we have a semi-truck and an oil refinery, which are farm cash. Down here, we have our train, which is farm cash. Now you'll notice all the rest of the train is not showing, even though over here is another long car that's connected to this guy here, except, yeah, you see, it does light up, even though the rest of the farm coin cars and the tracks are not showing because they're farm coin. Likewise, if I do it the other way, turn the coins back on, and I'll go over here. Everything is back, except because we haven't refreshed and removed anything, the red is still there. But now we see both kinds of trains, decorations, facilities, whichever is here. Now if we click on there and turn off farm cash items, now you'll notice that the tracks show, but the farm coin and the farm coin items are here, but the farm cash trains are not there. Depending upon what you're doing, you may want to use them or may not. That's your option. Those last two reset anytime you reload your farm. And I'm going to go up here and take it out of full screen and reload it by clicking here, and it'll load. And it is reloading. Shows us the latest people that have been there. I'm going to go back to full screen. And you'll see now these are turned on. My crops are still off. So I'll go ahead and turn them back on. And that's how the preferences work. When I'm plowing new farm field, if I'm using more than one layer, I will have crops turned off, which shows, as we saw, everything looks like it's in red. But normally you leave that on so that if you go in there to harvest or plow existing crops or existing plowed areas, they will be visible. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you and happy farming.